Here's Shea Norling.
That's true. Actually, there was a day a while ago, Hoodie. We almost brought this up on the show. I think Abdallah was in for you with Kap.
Yeah.
And there was a fantasy football punishment. I'm going to ask you, shot or no shot, if this is a punishment. This guy had to pay his own way, enter a U.S. Open qualifier, and play all 18 holes in the qualifier. He ended up shooting like a 30 over, something ridiculous. This incredibly difficult course. He wasn't a golfer, but that was his punishment. Last place fantasy football. Play in a U.S. Open qualifier. Shot or no shot, that's a punishment.
That's a no shot.
That is not a punishment.
It's a day on the golf course.
I'm actually going to play at a buddy's club tomorrow after we get off the air here. And the club is way, way too difficult for me. And I'm a decent player. I'm not Tom Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
Waddle's really good. Really good. But, well, when you're Tom Waddle, you have a chance to work on your game. And I'm not at Tommy's level. Let me just tell you something. That is not a punishment.
It's a dream.
To go to play where I'm going tomorrow and go, I shot 100. I don't care. I'm out on a golf course.
Not just
with buddies.
Not just a golf course. Just a pristine, like historic golf course.
Right, not the one you designed. What did you call it?
The ghetto dilapidated.
Yeah, the dilapidated one that looks like Scotland on the south side.
Which is no, that south side wouldn't look like that. That's the difference. I'm talking about if I was to build, if Jay Moore and I got into the business of building a golf course on the west side, someplace in the city, I don't have to do much work.
Right.
Look how beautiful these greens are. The weeds coming up. Look at that. You just got water everywhere, water hazards everywhere, but it's beautiful. Ah, what a great course. It's BS.
He's talking about in Scotland.
It's BS.
Yeah.
Not a links course guy.
No, just the idea, like it's so beautiful. Let's build that. You'd thumb your nose at it, like, oh, look how terrible this course is. Wait a minute, it's link style.
Correct.
It's wonderful. It's what the people want. Nonsense. So to put a bow on this, Shea Norling, would not be a punishment to be side by side with Luke Combs, because the rub you get from Luke Combs.
Yeah.
You get the phone numbers he can't get to.
Yep, I'd enjoy the moment.
Right?
All right, some reports yesterday surfaced on social media. Caleb Williams is expected to play in the Bears preseason game this weekend against Buffalo. Playtime expected to be around the entire first quarter. Shot or no shot, it is the right call to play Caleb for the first quarter regardless of offensive line health.
Look, I was just texting with Waddle,
who
weighed in. He loves our show. Waddle's great fan of ours. We have him on every Wednesday, and he said, capital letters, yes, he plays. Yes. He may be playing behind them in week one also. You've gotten soft. And I said, I want him to play. I just have to know, look, any play can happen. A guy can come off the edge against the greatest left tackle in the history of the sport. He gets beat and he crushes the quarterback. That's part of the deal. Just tell me that we have 5 guys that we feel like we can run our offense and he can get something out of it. Like if it's Cleveland, Justin's rookie year, when Nagy put in, our 5 will block their 5. Yeah, okay, he got sacked 9 times.
Yes.
I don't need that in my life.
I'm going to stand by what I said yesterday to you, what I said on the show yesterday. He's going to have to deal with some adversity at some point. It's just how the NFL works. It's never going to be perfect. It's going to be a wide receiver that's down. There's going to be a running back that's going to be down. There's going to be offensive linemen that's going to be shuttled in and out. So even in his rookie year, I'm not looking for, drama. What I'm saying is that he's got to get used to it. Doesn't matter who's practicing with. Sometimes there's going to be an injury. He should play. He's got to get out there, Cap. Sorry. Whether it's a series, a couple series, he needs to get the feel of the game. Remember,
I don't disagree with that.
He's never called the game before, like in an NFL environment.
Right.
So he's got to get out there and get used to it. Even if it's 6 to 8 plays, he's got to get out there.
Yeah, and I think he'll be out there for more than that. Again, let me be clear. I would like him to be out there to play against real live competition. But if you tell me that 3 or 4 of my 5 starters aren't in there and I'm putting guys out there who I don't think are going to even make my football team, I need my O-line coach, Simo, Chris Morgan. Ryan, relax. We'll protect him. We'll be okay.
I'm not afraid.
I'm not afraid. Go buy a dog.
Yeah, I'm not afraid,
Stacey.
Because we know how the NFL works. It just works that way. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, just ask Drew Bledsoe.
Things happen. This whole thing where this all started with Tony Dungy being afraid, and it could be injury. It could be injury at any time, whether the team's fully intact or not. Shay Norley.
Dan Graziano reported for ESPN that Keenan Allen, who recently changed agents, has approached the Bears about an extension. There has been no progress. Says the Bears are taking a wait-and-see approach with the 32-year-old receiver. So shot or no shot, Keenan Allen needs to play a minimum of 14 games if he's going to be a long-term option for the Bears.
I don't think there's a number that you put on it. What was the number that Tommy gave us? He thought he'd play 13, I think he said, didn't he?
Yes.
And I think Olin feels the same way. I don't put a number on it. Now, I need to see him perform. I need to see him be able to be out there consistently. But is there a set number? I don't go, well, you only played 13. I can't extend it. I got to see how it plays out.
How about 9? How about that for a number?
No.
9.
I think I'm out at 9.
Would you like 9?
13, I think there's
Probably
some
not.
nuance. If plays 13, gets 1,000 yards, we can have a conversation.
He said he didn't put a number on it, so I just put a number out there for him, like 9.
9, yeah, no.
9's a little light.
No? Okay.
That's a little.
How about 11? What about 11
I got to
games?
see how it plays out.
Oh, okay. No, it does matter. That's a shot. It does matter because coming into the door here at House Hall, we said, well, Keenan Allen's here, but he's not going to play the full complement of games because of injuries or whatever the issue. So I think that if you're the Bears, you'd like to know that this veteran can be able to be there in key moments and healthy enough. That matters.
Right.
It does matter.
Yeah, hard reset. There have been a lot of questions about just what the White Sox are waiting for in regards to firing Pedro Grifol, the losing streak now historic, tying the AL record. They had 21 consecutive losses. John Greenberg over the weekend was wondering why Chris Getz hasn't made a public declaration about the intention with Pedro Grifol and speculated that they might be willing to let him go out with a win. So shot or no shot, the White Sox should let Pedro Grifol go out with a win.
Yeah, it's a no shot. That's just silly. What is this, a youth league? Hey, man, we pay you $1 million a year. It didn't work out. Best of luck. Here's what we owe you. There's your check. And go get a coaching job. Good luck. And whoever the interim manager is, it's not on him if they don't win. He's just filling the time until the season ends. And they could try and fix this horrible team.
They don't owe Pedro Grifol anything at this point in time. They owe the fans and they owe the organization a better shot of being able to be a winner. But because they've chosen this route to be able to go down this path, Shay, as losers, 21 straight, Pedro Grifol doesn't need to be able to have a pat on the back, a victory, and let him go out as a victor. Because here's the thing. Pedro Grifol will never manage in the big leagues again because of this. He'll never manage in the big leagues again because whatever the perception is behind closed doors at 35th and Vec, the bottom line is your one-loss record is what it is. Your resume is what it is. He was over his head as a manager just to start with, only because the organization was not equipped to be able to win. You want to get rid of Tony La Russa now? People thought that was a bad idea. That guy had that team winning before he got sick. And now look at the team. The core is just not good enough. It was never healthy enough to start with. Let's start there. Never healthy enough. With Aloy and Moncada, it was never consistent enough to be able to help the Sox win. But the bottom line is that Grifol doesn't need a pat on the back with all those L's. He should go out when they're ready to fire him. Yeah. And by the way, I don't want him to be fired. I want him to stay here as Sox manager for the rest of the year. He needs to wear it like everybody else. What's the point?
There's no way he finishes the season. No way. I get your point.
What's the point?
Because at some point you just have to make a change. You have to. He doesn't. He's not very good at the job. The team is pathetic. I mean,
it's designed that way. Do the parallel of the Bears and the White Sox. I'm talking about when Poles first got here. It was designed to fail. Like, okay, we got all these guys that are supposed to be good. They're not helping you win anyway, so we're going to reset this thing. That had to be a hard sell for Poles to tell the owner, George McCaskey, yeah, your team's nice, but it's not good enough. We're going to rebuild this thing. No GM or no front office person ever told that to a McCaskey.
Right.
You think Ted's never done that.
I
When
know.
Ted would never do
when
that.
they came in here and interviewed Chris Ballard before Pace got the job, Chris Ballard, who's now the GM in Indy, he told him in his interview, first thing I'm doing, I'm letting you know I'm releasing Jay Cutler tomorrow. He's a black cloud on the organization or whatever it was the line he used.
Yeah.
Out. And George went, okay, you can leave. They weren't letting him buy that contract. No chance.
Right.
Well, polls came in. Enough's enough. Let's fix it. But I don't think the White Sox entered the season trying to take it down to the studs. They did not. Chris, he's a smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have any experience in this job. But I think Chris went, okay, we're going to be horrible. But we got the audio there from Jerry. We're going to play it. Jerry, so we got a good core. We're going to be better. Really?
Just remember, Shay, there was a disconnect from the beginning. What did Chris Getz say at spring training? I don't like our team.
Right.
But Jerry said it was fine. We got a nice core here. Chris openly said, I don't like our team because he knew that this would be awful.
I guarantee you he said to Jerry, you may think we got a good core. No, we don't. Bad.
It's what it is.
Well, the reports that he wanted to trade Crochet and Robert tell you everything you need to know about what he thought of the core. I want closure on a debate that we have had on this show all baseball season regarding the Chicago Cubs. We've fought a lot about whether the Cubs bullpen or offense was the bigger problem this season.
I thought the debate is, should we stop talking baseball on the show?
We're getting there. Once this losing streak ends, yeah, that'll be all. But since June 1st, I just want to bring this up. I saw this stat. Since June 1st, Cubs bullpen ranks second in baseball in ERA, second in home runs per 9, second in batting average against, third in FIP, first in soft contact rate, second in average exit velocity, and first in barrel rate. Shot or no shot, the offense was always the problem for the Cubs.
No shot.
Well,
No shot.
You'd be wrong because I've been saying that since June that the team needed offense. And look how the pitching's turned it around. This starting pitching staff that you got, Cap, is playoff worthy. You know that, right? And your bullpen has turned it around. You've always needed offense. That's the problem with this team, but you won't listen to good reason.
They've blown 21 saves. 21. They're on pace to blow more than 30 saves.
You're like our political discourse. You won't listen to actual facts.
I'm the one that retweeted it. I sent that to you guys. You're showing me something I sent to you guys. Yes, their offense is not good. You blew 21 saves. You entered the season without a legitimate closer. Alzolay was never good enough. He was never tough enough to be a closer. You blew 21 saves. Unconscionable.
But nothing on the offense.
I didn't say that.
Well, I'm saying it. The offense was never good enough to compete because the front office didn't do enough to add to this offense.
Hold on a second. The same exact offense a year ago was third in the National League in runs scored, sixth in all of baseball, and at the end of April was 8 games over 500, tied for first. And that offense was playing fine.
Yeah, and that will get you, that and $1.75 will get you on the L. That doesn't do anything.
All I'm telling you is
it was a non-playoff team.
If you picked them as a playoff team.
I'm talking about last year. So we're talking about last year, right?
They did not go to the playoffs because of their offense.
Okay.
They were third in the National League. They didn't go last year because they got let down by management, not getting them bullpen help. That's the reason.
And the Braves beat their ass at the end when you really needed to have wins.
Because they blew saves. They scored. They didn't have a problem offensively last year. It was their bullpen. And you entered the season with a guy who's not good enough to be a closer. And now you've blown 21 saves. You save half of those, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, I can't guarantee that when you've got average offense.
We also need this.
Is that not fair?
No, it's fair.
It's not enough offense.
We need how many of the blown saves were actually losses, because blown saves don't equal losses.
I have to do some research and figure that out.
That's where I've always had a problem with the conversion.
20 or 21.
Oh, if you win the 21 blown saves, well, you probably won 3 or 4 of them anyway. So you can't just convert them all to wins.
Here's my research. The offense was always just average and bland. And that's what happens when you don't have a star, Cap. That's the reason why that's one of the reasons why the Cubs are in this position right now. Last year, you relied so heavily on Bellinger's bat and Suzuki's bat, and it just wasn't enough. This year, the same thing. the arrogance of the Cubs of just hanging in there like, oh, just run it back. Oh, you need it more than that. As much as I love Chris Morrell, I'm not like the last ones that still think that he's got a bright future. Even he couldn't help the cause. Offensively, they were inept. You would call them in your recaps like they were, what would you say about them, how soft they were? Impotent. They were.
Right.
They
I'm
still
not
are.
disputing
Still
the
are.
fact that their offense needs an upgrade, but they've added in the offseason a first baseman who's top 3 OPS among his position, Michael Busch. Had a really good year. Really good. Over the last just over 12 months, Seiya Suzuki's top 10 in OPS. Top 10. Now, Dansby Swanson has been terrible. Terrible. No doubt about it. Pete Crow Armstrong, love him, how he's fast. He's a good defender. His offense still has to get to league average. It's not even at league average. And their catchers have been terrible till Amaya has been hot the last 2-3 weeks. Yes, they need more offense. No doubt about it.
Typical Cubs coming at the end, trying to be able to salvage this thing. Just like last year, at the end. You needed it in July. Where was it in July? The clutch hitting.
Agreed.
Didn't have it. That's why the hitting has always been an issue for me.